Hello everyone, welcome to Next Gen Data Aspirants Community YouTube channel. This is Suparnababu. Today in this video I am going to explore about few financial DAX functions. So let's begin. Now here if you see we are running a play series separate for financial DAX functions. So far we completed this DAX functions. I would say till disk DAX functions we completed, and if you missed this DAX functions, I would request you please go through these videos. You will gain a good knowledge. Now today in this video we are going to learn these three DAX functions. What are these three DAX functions? $DE, $FR and duration DAX functions. Basically these three are financial DAX functions. So before writing DAX measures, let's understand this. What is this DAX functions? So for that, let's head over to Power BI official documentation. Now here, if you see, this is Microsoft official documentation for $DE DAX function. So we will provide this link in this video description. Please go through this official documentation links. Now, if we see the $DE DAX function functionality, so what it is telling, converts $DE price expressed an integer part and fraction part such as 1.02 into a dollar price, expressed a decimal number, fraction dollar number, sometimes used for security prices. And if I would say in layman terms, in US, for few securities, these DAX functions they are going to use. So I would say they will convert the fraction part. They will convert the dollar price fraction part into a decimal number, numbers. So if you see the syntax here, $DE, there are only, we need to fill two values, one fractional dollar, another one is fractional value, fine. So what is the fraction dollar? A number expressed is an integer part and a fraction part separated by a decimal symbol. Okay, fine. And fraction, the integer to use in the denominator fraction. I will tell you later in this video. So if I go here, there are some examples is also there. So I'll tell you, please listen carefully here. So here there is an example, $DE 1.0 to 16. How this came? 1.02 and 16. If you ask me, 1.02 means, so here 1.02. So this 1.02 represents 1 plus 2 divided by 16. It means this 1 plus 0, anyhow we will not consider 0, 2 means 2 and divided by 16. So if I go and tell you, let's say this, let me take this example, 1.1 16. So how it will, 1 space 1 divided by 16. So if you see 1.1 and denominator 16 is the fraction value, this 1.1 is the fraction dollar value. This is how you can understand. Fine. So let's see what is the $FR. Here if you see $FR, so it converts the dollar price expressed as a decimal number into dollar price expressed an integer part. It means it's a reversal operation of this $DE. So here what you need to fill in the syntax. So $FR, decimal dollar and fraction. So decimal dollar is a decimal number, fraction is the same integer used to in the denominator of the fraction. So here if I scroll down, so here 1.125 and 16. So actually this 1.125, how it comes from this? Here if you see in this example we got 1.125. So from this 1.125 is a decimal number, and the fraction part it still remains same. This 16 is still remains same. So this is the understanding about $FR. Now let's see what is this duration. So here if you see the duration, it returns the McCulley duration for an assumed par value $100. So there is a new term called McCulley duration. So what is this McCulley duration? It means, let's say you invested some amount, in bond. So let's say the bond duration is 30 years, but what is the your invested amount. Let's say it is 10 lakh. The 10 lakhs amount, in how many years you will recover? In spite of bond duration, even though it's have 30 years, let's say in some cases you will get in 10.5 years, in 15 years you will get your investment original value. That's where it is mentioned here. Duration is defined as weighted average of the present value of the cash flows and used as a measure bond price responses to the changes in yield. So this is duration. And if you see the syntax here, settlement, I think settlement date, its maturity date, coupon, yield, frequency and basis. Now here if you see the syntax explanation, settlement is nothing but, as I mentioned earlier, settlement date, and this is maturity date, and this is coupon rate, and this is yield, and frequency. Frequency is 1. If it returns 1, it's for annual. If it is returns 2 for semi-annual, it returns 4 quarterly, and basis is a optional one. Basis is a optional one. So this is understanding about these 3 DAX functions. Now let's head over to Power BI and let's begin write DAX measures. Now here if you see, before writing the DAX measures, let's understand what is the tables we have. Here if you see, we have lot of tables, but in this, for the first $DE DAX function, I am going to use this security TB1. So here we have a security number, fraction dollar and fraction value. So now let's take a new DAX measure. So here let me zoom it. So let me rename it to $DE. So here I have multiple values. That's why what I'll do, so I will use variables. So where first I need fraction dollar, FR dollar equal to selected value of fraction dollar from security table 1. So keep in mind that here we have 2 tables, so you can select fraction dollar from this table 1. Fine. Now the next value we need fraction value. So selected value of fraction value from which table? We need to consider it from table 1. Fine. Now let's return. So in this return, let me call $DE DAX function. So now here let's call these 2 variables, FR dollar comma FR value, which is nothing but fraction value. Let's close the bracket and let's execute this DAX. Well done, perfect. It's successfully executed. Now let's go to the report view. So let me go to the page 8. Here already there is a table. So in this what I'll do, security number, fraction dollar, fraction value and $DE. Okay. So this sum of fraction dollar, it doesn't make any sense. Let me rename it properly. Also this sum of fraction value, rename it. Okay, fine. So fine. So let me adjust the width. Let me put it here. Okay, fine. Now we got some values. So how we can verify or conclude these are the correct numbers? If you remember in this page, if you see there is a statement. These functions are very similar to used in the Microsoft Excel, where it is used in the Microsoft Excel. So now let's go to the Microsoft Excel. So this is my online Excel. So the same table here I have. If you ask me, the same table here I have. Whatever the table you see here, the same table and the same values. Fine. Now let me write $DE and let's call $DE function from Excel. Okay, see here also it is telling that fraction dollar and fraction. Okay, fraction dollar I already have and fraction value. Let me close the bracket and let me implement same to the remaining ones. Fine. Now let's go and verify. So here if you see, before that let me put this to DAX to decimal number and let me put this to 4 points. Fine. Now now let's see, let's compare. So here if you see security 1 1.625 1.625, okay, matching. The second one 2.625 2.625 matching, and the third one 2.833 now this one, so 3.3135 for 4, okay, it's matching, and 2.75 it is also matching. So now the values are exactly matched, the values are exactly matched. Fine. Now this is about $DE DAX function. Fine. Now let's start writing DAX function for $FR. So which table here we are going to use? If you ask me, this is the security table. It's nothing but whatever the values I got here, 1.625, 2.625. Okay, the same values, and fraction value I picked from this table only. I picked from this table only. Okay. So now let's start write the DAX function here. Take a new measure. Okay. So $FR. Let me go to the, let me expand it. Let me take a variable. So decimal dollar equal to selected value of decimal dollar from security table 2. Okay, and it's a small tables. I would request you please prepare by yourself this data. And the second variable is fraction value. Fraction value, selected value of fraction value from which table this time should I consider? Not from table 1, keep in mind that from table 2. Fine. Now let's return this DAX function. So $FR decimal dollar variable I am calling, and the second variable is fraction value. Let's close the bracket and let's execute. Okay, perfect, it's successfully executed. Now let's go to here, report view. Let me take a copy of this. So let me remove everything from here. Let me drag the security number, fraction value, okay, decimal dollar, and the last but not least $FR. And let me rename this, it doesn't make any sense, sum of fraction value also I am removing it. Okay, fine. So now we got some value. Also, if you remember, see, I mentioned one thing, $FR is quite opposite to $DE. Okay, it should return fractional dollar value. So here if you see 1.1, 2.1, again 2.1, again 3.1, see the same result, exact results it is returning. Fine. Now we will go to the Excel, and here we will verify the same. So $FR, let's click this $FR, and let's call this decimal dollar and fractional value, close the bracket. Let me copy and paste it here. Let me make this to 2 decimals. Now let's compare. So now here if you see, just a minute, okay, fine. So 1.1, 2.1, okay, 2.1, 2.1, okay, 3.1, 3.2.3. So now the values are exactly matching. Now I'll tell you one tip here. See, actually how these values are came, 1 space 1 divided by 16. 1 space 1 divided by 16. That's why we are getting the value. So when I select this cell, please observe carefully, here the data type is fraction. See, automatically Excel is detected as a fraction. Excel is detected as a fraction. And also here if you see here, if I select this cell in the this formula bar, we are seeing 1.0625 automatically. See, there is something is there 0. If we exclude 0, so the value are exactly matching. So if we come to the Excel, in Excel no need to write this DAX function. So let's say for example, I'll take 2 space 3 divided by 4. 2 space 3 divided by 4. See, now the value 2.75 exactly matching here. See, there is no need to write. And also here if you see the data type is fraction. Okay, this is all about $DE and $FR. Fine. Now let's go to the Power BI. Now let's implement our third DAX function, duration. So for duration, I'll take another table called bonds table. So this is bonds table. Here, if you see, we have bond number column, settlement date, maturity date, coupon rate, yield, frequency, and basis. We have all the required columns for our DAX rating. So now let's start writing the DAX. Click on new measure. So now let me rename this as a duration. Let me come to second line. So if you come to second line, from your keyboard you need to press shift enter. What is shift enter? So let me take variable concept here. So the first thing is settlement date STM. I will put STM, otherwise people will confuse start date. Okay, so selected value of settlement date from which table? Bonds underscore table. So here in my PBX file I have a lot of bonds tables, but you need to select from bonds underscore table. Okay, now the second variable is maturity date equal to selected value of maturity date from bonds underscore table. Okay, now the third value is coupon rate, C rate, selected value of coupon rate from bonds underscore table. Now variable. So the next thing is YLD, yield. So this one, selected value of yield from bonds underscore table. Now variable, the next variable is frequency, FRQNCY equal to the selected value of frequency from bonds underscore table. Okay, and the last but not least, let's take basis, selected value of basis from bonds underscore table. Okay, so all the variables are written. Now let's return our original DAX function. So now here let me call duration. Now let's call settlement date, STM date. Fine. Next, maturity date. Very good. The next thing is coupon. The one very good advantage from Power BI DAX function, it will tell you, see, the moment I put comma here, automatically it is highlighting. I need to write coupon rate. So C rate variable, then yield, YLD. Okay, the next thing is frequency, FRQNCY. Okay, the next thing is basis. Okay, so all variables called in DAX function. Now let's execute this. Perfect. Our DAX function executed without any error. Now let's go back to the report view. So let me take a copy of this. So let me remove all this DAX function from this. Now from this, let's call bond number, settlement date, maturity date, coupon rate, yield, frequency, basis, and duration. Fine, no problem. It is expected. Let me change this to normal date. I'm not going to use any hierarchy here. Okay, fine. So now let me expand this. Before that, let me rename this, because its sum of coupon rate doesn't make any sense. So that's why I'll properly rename it. Otherwise, people may confuse. Yield, sum of frequency also, let me rename it. Basis also, let me rename it. Okay, fine. So let me increase the height. Fine. Now how I can cross verify this? You know very well. Okay. Let me go to my Excel. Here if you see the same bonds table, whatever the table here you are seeing, the same bonds table, it is available in my online Excel. So here let me take duration. So duration, let me open bracket. See, the moment I open the bracket, here you are seeing settlement, maturity, coupon, and it is showing syntax. So let's take this. Okay, settlement date, very good. Next, the thing is maturity date, fine. Next, coupon rate, yield, next frequency, next biases. See, it is showing some hard coding values, but we will go with our default values. Okay, fine. Let me copy and paste. Let me copy and paste. Fine. So now let me do one thing. So let me put this table here. Let me bring this table up. Okay, let me, because already it's completed. Now it's easy. See, now here if we compare, so let me make this two decimal points. So now if you see, let's verify the values. See, bond number 1 4.40, 4.0, bond number 2 5.59, 5.59, bond number 3 3.72, 3.72, bond number 4 6.99, 6.99, bond number 5 5, bond number 6 6.22, 6.22. Now let me explain how it is. See, for the, let's say for example, bond number 6, it is starting on 2024 and ending on 2032. It means 6 plus 2 8 years. 8 years, but the original investment value, the respective bond holder will gaining in 6.2 years. In 6.2 years. Okay, and in the same way, see, this is 10 years, 2024 to 2034. But in the 7 years, the 7 years only they are going to gain their investment based on the bond. This is all about duration DAX function. Now, let me recap today what we learned. Let me go to the. So today in this video we learned 3 DAX functions, which is $DE, $FR, and duration. So $DE is used to calculate the dollar decimal value, and $FR, which is used to calculate the fractional value, and duration, it will calculate the maturity duration for a bonds. Thank you all for watching this video. Please like, share, comment this video. Please subscribe Next Gen Data Aspirants Community YouTube channel. We'll see you in another interesting video. Thank you all.